Hello, everyone. Uh, uh, a very good morning, and thanks all of you who join us today. I'm sorry, I'll probably get few more such notifications, uh, but that is how it is. Anyways, so yes, as Shobik talked about, mm, my name is Vivek Agnihotri. Uh, I come from a place called Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh, and have been in Bangalore since 2001. I've completed my engineering from here and then started my career in IT as a software developer. So it's almost more than 14 years I have been working in IT field and worked altogether five different companies so far. Uh, most of them were most of them were product companies like Oracle, Antenna, which is now Pegasystem, uh, and now in BT. And the agenda for today is, I mean, as you can see, how to excel in interviews, right? So I am going to talk about uh, how to excel in interviews. That is one thing. Yes, it's not only about excelling in the interviews, cracking the interview, right? You are not going to be in a government job where once you come in, you will remain there as long as you don't get VRS or people ask you to retire, right? It's all about your performance. How do you work? How do you perform in the organization? And that is the only way you can coexist or you can excel in that particular organization. So we should. I mean, though I am going to more. I will talk more about how what all areas you should concentrate. You should read about for excelling in interviews. Uh, but uh, the baseline remains same, which is you have your concept very clear so that you can remain in the organization as long as you want instead of somebody else wants you to move on. Right. So having said that, uh, let's uh, or let me talk about some of my experience so far. I mean, just to tell you, I have taken more than 200 interviews uh, and have given at least 20 odd interviews so far. So with this immense exposure of conversation, or I should say technical conversation, uh, I realize that the first thing is to crack an interview. The most important thing is to present at right place at right time. Okay, your skills, your knowledge is one thing. Yes, you should have it in you, but if if you are not at the right place at the right time, uh, probably you will not able to crack it. And there could be many reasons for that. Interview doesn't like you, he or she has other reservations, right? Say the position is already filled, but now since they have invited you, they are bound to take your interview, but even they know what would be the outcome, right? So even though whatever, I mean, doesn't matter, irrespective of how did you perform, the outcome is sure, which is rejection, right? Or say some of the time what happens is the interview who is taking your interview, right, find themselves uh, lower than you. I mean, they realize, okay, the one who is giving the interview comes with the immense knowledge and probably would be a threat for me, so then they don't take you, right? So that means you should never lose the hope even if you are rejected. Okay, all you can do is you should double fold your effort to learn more and appear in the next interview. That is what you can do. uh, that is with my experience, I tell you this. Okay, so now let's see the different things what happens in the interview. Okay, so to me, there are basically, if I want to categorize uh, the types of interviewer, right, the people who take your interview, I see them. There are basically three types of interview. Okay, the one who ask you set of questions, mostly bookish. So they already have compiled their list. They come with that list and they ask you questions. Okay. Um, then you have some people, they ask you something and then they drill down on those questions. Okay. And then you have this third person, the third type of people. What they do is they ask you your latest work, any project you have done. So they ask you to explain it, right? And then they drill down on different tasks you have implemented. Uh, ask you many questions. How did you do that? How do you uh, do that? So my agenda is, I mean, I just want to talk about, since there are these three different types of people, you should have a clear strategy how to handle if you come across any of these. Okay, so let's take uh, type by type and then see how should we prepare for that. Right. So the first type of person I said is the person who comes with their compiled list. They have a uh, uh, built up questions. And as I said, mostly it's bookish. So for such people, I believe you should spend more time on net and figure it out. So yes, I was talking about a set of people, right, who comes with their set of questions and ask you, uh, say for an example, how do you reverse a string? Okay, uh, can you find out what is the prime number? Such questions. So for that, you definitely, as I said, you should spend more time on Google, uh, figure it out what is the most asked questions in interviews, or interview questions, program interview questions in Java, different keywords. uh, you will find some sites give you 30 questions, 300 questions or so. You read about it, uh, and you will able to successfully tackle these people. And what I foresee is, I don't foresee and I don't foresee these type of people as a challenge. Okay, uh, because as I said, this is a bookish question. You read over the net, and you know most of the answers, and you will able to answer them. So the major challenge comes with this type 2 and type 3. So in order to introduce how do you have type 2 people, let me ask some question. So to me, the type 2 people is, they ask you something and then they drill down. Okay, let me see participants. Whom should I pick first? So they are co-host. Yes, Surjit. So what do you do, Surjit?
Presently, I am working in an industrial automation company.
Okay, and you work in Java?
Yes, it's an embedded kind of Java where I am working.
Okay. So say right. So so this is how it starts. So I asked Surjit, what project do you do, and he says, I work in embedded Java. Okay. So now the word you choose, right? Question start from there. So let me start. Let me ask Surjit, what do you mean by embedded Java, Surjit?
Sir, presently what we are working, it's a a software of our company product. So based on the uh, mm, Java 1.8 JDK, we have
Uh-huh.
modified that JDK and then embedded into our software. So we need to extend some of our own classes which we have in
And what is JDK?
Java Development Kit.
Right. And what does it do? What it is for?
It's a Java Development Kit comprises of Java compiler and also the Java runtime environment.
Okay, so if you have JDK, you don't need JRE, that is runtime environment, is it?
Already, if JDK is there, we do not need JRE.
Okay, you don't need a JRE, you don't need JVM as well.
Sir, it is already there. JDK consists of JVM, JRE, and JIT compile. JIT.
Okay, and what is the difference? I mean, I'll answer all of these one by one, but just to showcase how it goes, drilling down. So, and then what is the difference between JRE and JVM?
Uh, so JRE is the Java runtime environment, and JVM is the Java virtual machine. So the Java code is compiled, and then it is converted into the byte code. So
Right, but when you already have the runtime environment, why do you need a virtual machine?
sir, it's Java needs an environment for running its own code.
Okay, if
So
that is the case, then why do you need a runtime environment? If JVM can work, why do I mean obviously if you already have a runtime environment, why do you need a virtual machine? And if you have a Java virtual machine, why do you need a runtime environment? That's okay, completely okay. I mean, it's not an interview. Just to showcase how does it work, Sujit, right? And this is for
yes,
everyone.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
This
sir.
is for everyone. So the word you choose to answer, right?
Hmm.
You should be 100% sure that the word you have spoken, you can tackle the questions around it. Okay,
Okay.
and this goes everywhere for everything. Uh,
Yes, sir.
I mean, JVM, JRE, JDK, Java, REST, distribute, anything. I mean, any word. So that is why you should try to give your answers in as minimum words as possible and choose your words wisely so that whatever word you are picking up, you know, okay, if somebody asks me around this, I will able to handle. So read about it. I mean, since I have asked you, I'll just tell you the answer for this at least. But yes, read more about it. Uh, so JRE runtime environment, right? And JVM virtual machine. So if I have to execute anything, right? If a program has to run, definitely it will run on a machine, and that is why I need a virtual machine called and for Java, and that is why it is called as Java virtual machine. Okay. Uh, so this and what is runtime environment? Runtime environment is to run Java code. So JRE will run on JVM basically. And how will you write your Java? With the help of JDK. So the name itself says, right, development kit. So with the development kit comes with a lots of classes, lots of packages which you use, you write. I'm sure you all know about it. But if you see the answers which I have given is in as minimum words as possible. Say for an example, JVM is a virtual machine. For any program, you need a machine. So I have opened lesser uh, threads to be picked up. And if I start, I mean, there are people in an interview, when you ask something to them, they start telling you a story around it, and that is where you lack, and that is where you get caught, right? Did I make sense, Surjit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. Right. And this the third type of people who ask you what you have done. Say for an example, if Surjit is the candidate and I have asked what you have done, then he will talk about his project which he was talking about, and then I can ask him different questions. How did you do that? How did you override? Why did you override? Why didn't you use them existing classes itself? And all those stuff around, right? And definitely to tackle or to handle this third set of people, the project which you are going to talk about, and it can be anything. For a fresher, it can be a college project. For an experienced person, it can be a project which he was working on in his last organization. So when you talk about this project, right, uh, generally what is the tendency is, since any given project is big, okay, it's a bigger project, so people just understand how it works, and that is what they want to explain. But no, your agenda should not be that. Okay. because what happens is, uh, you have to be through with your project. Whatever work you have done, it will be like, um, so question will be like, I mean, so you have explained me your project, which is good, but nobody is interested in that. They are interested in the corner cases. Like, say for an example, if your project is getting some data, so they will ask you how you are getting the data, how big the data was. If the data said, you said data was 5 MB, if it is 25 MB, how will you handle it, right? How did you handle the authentication? How did you allow people to log in? All such things. So knowing your business of the project is good, but that is just 10 or 20% you should be looking for. It's not that whatever your project doing, you read about it, you understand about it, and that's it. No, that is just a basic. That is just to tell people what I have done. But the question will start from there. So whatever you have done, say for an example, as Sujit said, I have overridden some classes. So how will you override a class? What all things you will do to override a class? If you have to override more than one classes, what you will do? If you have to override from interface, what will you do? So all this, so when you talk about it, you should look all these corner cases and prepare for it.
Suppose
It will be
if
good if you take your name first and then we'll talk, because then
yes,
I
this
know.
is Surajit here, sir.
Acha, Sujit again. Yes, Sujit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, what are the basic interview questions or that in a software company? Suppose if I want to switch my domain from industrial automation to software, so
Hmm.
what are the questions that a software company should ask me? Because the projects related to the software company are little bit different, as I am
Hmm.
working on embedded Java. So can I switch to there, and what other questions should I prepare for myself in order to get into those companies? I mean IT companies, software companies.
Right. Good question, Sujit. And that is what I will I was talking about, and I'll talk more about it. So
Mm-hmm.
what are the questions? S- Uh, so if you have understood what I said is, I talked about so far three things.
Mm-hmm.
In any interview, you can meet three types of interviewer. One is who ask you set of questions. For them, if you Google top 30 questions, or most uh, asked questions in Java interview, you will have a list. I mean, if I just showcase, let me know if you can not see my screen.
Yes, I can see. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So say I go to Google and I say interview question on Java, in just an example. So there you see there are people who have posted 300 questions, 100 plus questions. You just read about it and you will able to handle this one type of people who ask you only the question, bookish question basically. Okay. So in order to handle them, you should spend more time on net and read about it. Okay. I talked about second type of people who who will ask you something, anything, just the way I asked you what is your project, and then they will start asking, drilling down whatever words you have used. For that, you should have a script. You should know, if someone asks me this, what all the answers I'm going to give, what all words I'm going to use, and you should have your answers, or you should have those questions around the words which you have used. Okay. And this third type of people who will ask you what project you have done, and then they will ask you all the questions around it. Okay. I, I'm going to talk more about this in depth now, but so far is that clear? So you find three types of people, and how do you handle? I mean, there should be a different strategies to handle these people or these type of interview. Yes, Sajid, that's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So now, when you get an interview, right? It is always be a very good practice to know the format of the interview. So, what would be the format of your interview which you are going to give? So when somebody schedules your interview, some of the time it will be an HR of the company, and some of the time it will be a consultant, right? Who arranges your interview in any company, say ABC, right? So before you appear in that interview, it's always a good practice to ask that person who is setting up your interview the format of the interview. What would be the format? Say for an example, if the format is gonna be only programming, okay, then definitely interviewer is going to ask you the program which are big in size, which you will write, you will take at least 40, 50 minutes or 1 hour to write a program. That would be that type of program. And if the program and if the interview uh, is mixed of questions, technical discussion plus programs, then this interview is going to ask you uh, small programs but very tricky one, for which and I'm going to talk more about let's take this example. uh, if this person, you ask your HR what would be the format, and he says, or he or she says, it will be, I mean, the programmer will ask you only uh, program. He or she will give you program to write, and you have to write the program. Okay. So as I said, then you should expect a program which is longer, which for which you will take longer time to write. Just for an example, he gives you a number 134 and ask you to convert that number into words. I give you any number 124, and then you have to write a program so that 124 will print 124, or any number, right? It can be up to even billion, or say asking you some stack implementation, but any such programs which is going to take longer, so you have to practice for it. Okay. Then a small program will not help you, because that they are not going to ask you those small programs which can be which are tricky, but can be done in no time. And I will give you examples, and we will write a few such programs as well, uh, uh, which is good uh, uh, to understand the concepts, right? Other than, and if it is a technical discussion, right, as I said, so what all areas it comes to, right? One is the program, one is people will ask you some program and you have to write it, which is okay. But it's not only about the program, right? It's about the life cycle of the software development, right? It can be from the architecture, right? And we will cover that point, how, what is the architecture, how it should work. It can be deployment. Once you write your code, how do you deploy, uh, where do you deploy, what all practices you follow, all such things. And then it can be release. I mean, when you release your program, right? What methodology do you follow? Do you follow waterfall? Do you follow agile? Do you follow mix, hybrid version? If you say agile, what all happens, we will cover all of those. Okay. So let's start with the some program uh, which are tricky one. So always remember one thing: when you are practicing programs to crack the interview. I mean, I'm talking about only to crack the interview. Okay, not. I mean, as I said, cracking an interview is just one thing. You have to work on yourself so that you even can survive or even thrive in that organization. Right. So let's take this example. Let me here itself. Let me new slide. I just say you have. Let's take the table with this. So you have a table like that. Okay. Uh, or in a programming language, let's talk about the array. So I'm I expect everyone understands what is array, or you want me to talk about it? Okay. I expect yes, since we uh, going to learn how to write program, at least we understand what is an array. So one common uh, problem or common thing in an interview, right? People will ask you, and that is where you should concentrate. You should work on. You should work on more on array. So you should read or practices more programs on array, and then the second concept is stack. Trust me, if you are able to solve 10 to 15 programs in both these concepts, array and stack, and I'll talk now in a moment how do you know if you should use array or if you should use stack. I'll talk more about the concepts. So if you understand these two, you can crack at least 90% of the programming interviews. It can be from any company, from Amazon to any smaller company, ABC. But if you have these, I mean, if you understand array and stack, and how do you use them to solve the problems, as I said, 90% of the time you can crack your question. Okay, so let's take this our first program, and we will write this program also, um, because I find uh, this program very interesting, and the reason you will understand in a moment. uh, so a common question is, I have a array, okay, and I just want to this array to be shifted two times to its right, or three times to its right. So what I'm saying is, if I go here, my screen is visible, right? You can see me creating an array.
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so on top you have an array which has 1 2 3 4 5 6 elements in it, and I want this to be shifted, say two times, right shift. So I want is all its element to be shifted to the right. So what will happen is, this one two times will be shifted and comes at this place, one here. Sorry, I created one extra, uh, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So when we move this, right, or are you able to, right? So if I shift this, so this will become two times, since we have shifted. So that becomes 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is how, this is what will happen if I shift this array twice. Okay, and same way, if someone asks me to shift this three times, four times, they can ask me as many times as they want, just to shift even right and left. Let's take this example of shifting them to the right. Okay. Is the program problem statement clear, everyone? Or anyone has any question?
No.
Okay. So I take this as a no. I believe that you have understood that this is a program, which is a very common program. People ask you if even if I Google, right? Let's Google about this program. Write shift array in Java. And take anything. A Java point is good. Geek for geeks is good. Anything. Let's take any. This program I have taken. So I have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they want to shift only once. So 5 be shifted here and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I just show you the implementation of it, right? This is what they have done. So taken an array, comparing it. I believe you understand how to write such programs, and then do all this, and then print the element. Okay. So it's a way of doing it, and we call it as a brutal way of doing it. This brute force, it's called as nothing but you are taking element by element and shifting them. Okay. And there are number of problems in this approach. First is you write more number of lines, more lines of code. Second is your program is not efficient enough because it creates more variable, it does more operations, and that's what that is the problem in it. Okay. So now how should we do it? Do I have any better approach to solve this? Anyone know the answer? Anyone? Do you want to give a try? Okay, no worries.
By using hello, Surajit here.
Yes, Sujit.
By using any loop, for loop, we can actually
Right,
manipulate
right,
the
and that is what these people have done, Sujit. By using the for loop, they are picking element by element and shifting it whatever times they want. So nothing but going to one index and moving to number of times they have to. Okay. But
yes.
but the problem is, so this loop, right? If I ask you to move everything 5 times, you have to loop 5 times.
Yes.
If I ask you to move everything 20 times, you shift every elements 20 times to its right. You will loop 20 times. If I ask you to shift every elements 200 times, you will loop 200 times. Okay.
Yes.
So that is the problem, and that is what that has happens as I said earlier, with these tricky questions where you should talk about, I mean, where you should understand not only to write a program, but how your time complexity and space complexity you can reduce. ON is best, but not possible to have ON every time. But always think about how do you do ON. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe
So
then try doing kind of a swap. Say, move the last element to the first and push the rest of the things. And maybe
right.
second times,
Right.
kind
So
of
even
swapping.
correct, but still you have to loop, right? You will go to one element, swap it, then go to second element, swap it. So if I ask you to move it for 10, 20, 40, 50 times, the what is the problem? Those many times you have to do your operation.
Can I speak?
Yes. If you take your name now, this will be easier for me to.
My name is Suraj, and
Suraj.
I mean, my approach will be like, if I have to shift by 2, I mean, 2 or 3, then if I have to shift by 2 from right, then I will choose. I mean, I can get the length of array, by dot length method, and then select the last two elements, and then copy them in some another array, and then by using arrays.copy, I will copy the 0 to last two elements, and then again put the last copied two elements into the array. Is it good? We are hiding the loop. Arrays.copy internally implements these loops and other stuff, but interview will not be able to see it. So is it good solution or not?
No, so the problem is you are, as you rightly said, it is using the for loop. So the complexity, right? The time taking to execute your program remains the same. And you have used the copy method as well. You have created one extra array also. Uh, uh, I mean, only creating one extra array doesn't hamper, but what hampers is using the copy method. And this you're talking about, as I earlier said, since it is using for loop, if I ask you 2 times, and how about if I ask you 20 times, then what you will do? Okay. So and I'm not sure if you have I'll explain you how you should do it. Not sure if you will find anywhere in Google the implementation which I am going to talk about, because to me writing a program is nothing but solving a puzzle, or solving a mathematic problem. Okay. So instead of instead of writing the code first, I always see if somebody asks me this question in maths and I have a pen and paper, how will I do that? And once I do, I see how can I fix it. Okay. So let's see this. Let me open my Eclipse, and let me, in SRC, let me create one class, new class. So let's call it as a cyclic rotation. Okay. And let's name it as package intra dot meetup dot puzzle. And let's have a main method also. Finish. Perfect. Okay. So let me explain you how it will work, and then let's see this. So let's take this example 1, 2, 3, 4, the first array which you see. If I ask you to move it for 2 times, okay. So what will happen is the first index, which is nothing but a 0 index, it is called, but for the simplicity, I'm calling it as the first index. I'm sure you all understand that index always starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that way. So the first index, if I have to move 2, all I am saying is move this 1 to 2 and 2 to 4. So move everyone to 2 places. If I ask you 3, move everyone to 3. If I ask you 4, move everyone to 4. 5, yes. If I ask you to move everything 6 times, so basically what I'm saying, nothing but moving them only 1 time. Is that right? Did I make sense, Suraj and Surjit?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If you move anything for 1 time, or if you move anything in the 5 element or say 6, let's take this example. If you have 6 element array, so if you move anything 1 time, or if you move anything 7 times, you will have the same result. Agree?
Yes, sir.
And even if you move everything 13 times, the result will be same. And even if you move everything 19 times, result will be the same.
Yes, sir.
And same thing goes to if you move everything 2 times, or if you move everything to 8 times, or if you move everything 14 times, result will be the same. Okay.
Yes.
So if you get the hint. So what I am saying is, if you move anything 1 time, or uh, uh, or the length plus one time, answer would be same. So the one of the best operator given by the programming people, not only in Java, everywhere, called as modulus. So if I 1 divided by 6, 1 modulo 6 and 7 modulo 6, what is the answer? Can anyone tell me? Do you know how modulo operator work?
Uh, Sir, are you talking about circular array?
No, I'm talking about SYS or modulo operator. Let's see this example. What I'm saying is, you know how much or our example, 1 modulo 6. You know, if I just run this, what will happen?
It will divide and give the question one.
Okay. If I do this 7, you know what will be the answer?
0.
No.
1.
Yes. If I make this as 13, you know what will be the answer?
1.
1.
2.
Yes. So what modulo does is, it talks only about the so if you divide 13 divided by 6, whatever is the remainder, okay, is the your answer. So when you divide 1 divided by 6, so cannot be divided, so you will get the same number as a remainder, right? So same way, if I have to move something 6 times, now you can tell me what is the answer?
0.
Wonderful. Or if I go for even 12 times or 60 times, if even I ask you, move everything 60 times, move that element of six indexes of an array, move them 60 times. So if you do with this, you know you don't need to move anything. If you will not do by this methodology or by this logic, you will move 60 times and then you will realize, oh my god, I haven't moved anything because everything is in their original position. Now, did I make sense, Suraj and Surajit?
Yes.
Did you understand why
Yes.
your program is not that great, right? Okay.
Yes.
So let's write with the modulo. You understood? Let's write this program. Okay. So one more thing. I mean, I'm sure it will be too much to digest in one of the session, in only one session. So I'll just giving you food for thought. If we'll meet again, we will more talk about it. There is something called as TDD. Okay, TDD. Full form is test driven development. Okay. If you have heard any of this DevOps thing, I mean, all fancy thing people talk about, DevOps, Agile. Not sure if you guys have heard about. This all starts, although people don't follow, but this all starts with TDD, test driven development. What does that mean? That means first you write your test case. Okay, you create your data, test data, and then you write the code and see if that is being satisfied or not. As I said, we will, I mean, in a single day it will be very difficult for you to digest this. Uh, but that is how a good programmer should program. Okay. So having said that, let's do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I have to do what? I have to create a cycle rotation, Control C, and let me remove this. Okay, you don't need it. So cycle rotation, control space, cycle rotation is equal to new control space cycle rotation. Done. So I have created a. If you have any question while I am writing the program, ask me. I'm available to explain you. If no, then it's okay. Then let me create one array, integer array. Okay. And what let me do is, let me create one integer, and let's have a let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I have created one integer. Why is that? Or let me call the method itself, one of the method, and then we'll see. Cycle rotation dot say get new array. I'll just talk about what I'm trying to do. And okay, and here comma 5. Since I have taken 1 to 5, I'm doing this. Right. So what I did is, and this is a TDD thing I'm talking about. So what I did is I created my test data. I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want this to be moved to 5 times. Okay. Since and any method, since I am going to write the program, I have given any method. Since it is not present, it is asking me to create it. I'll just create it. Okay. Looks like I have one extra this. Yes. So far so good. Any question? Anyone?
No.
No. Right. So what I did is nothing but I'm just calling my method, which will do the shifting of the element, and in that method I am passing the my array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am saying, let's move it to 5 times. We will change it over the period of time again and again. And if you are doing that test-driven data, so what you do, I mean TDD, what you do is, this is what you do. I'll just show you. Instead of A, let this called as B, let this called as C, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 times, and here say 5, 6, or 5 only, and say 10 times. Okay, so this is the TDD. So I have created my test data, that this is my integer array, and I want to rotate it 5 times. This is my integer array. I want to move it to 10 times.
हम तो डरते हैं बाहर से मंगाने के लिए ना, इसलिए हम सोचते
Can you go on mute, the one who is?
मतलब नहीं है, मतलब नहीं है, लेकिन यूट्यूब का दे देते हैं।
Can't I mute all?
नहीं था, वही हैबिचुएट हो जाते हैं ना लोग, फ्री का है तो चलो भाई कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, फ्री का है तो तुमको तो बोल रहा है कि तुम एक दे दो बंदे, कब तक तुम उसे प्रोसेसिंग कर रहे हो, वो आ जाएगा फ्री वन दे दो, खरीद लो सामान वाला अपना दे दो।
Okay, so since I have written this, right, passing the perfect, right? So so we created the data. We want this array to be shifted for 5 times to its right. So get new array. So this is how I am getting the variable. Okay, wonderful. So what I'll do is I'll create just first of all an empty array. Okay, where I'm going to fill things. Say I call it as new array is equal to new int. And so my array, what should be the length? Obviously the length should be the length of the whatever is this, because end of the day they all have to fix they all have to be settled in the, I mean, if you have to if you have got an array of 5 uh, indexes, right? As, I mean, whatever number of times you will shift them left or right, a- array will be of 5 index only, right? Array cannot be increased, the size of array will not cannot be increased. So that is why all I need is a array. I'm just creating with the same length. And so what we understood, so as many times the length is, so I'll just iterate on this. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than is dot length I plus plus. And here all I will do is, in this new array, the index of it, which is I plus, oh, this is already, so instead of I, let me call it as number of times, so that we all understand. So in this new array, I plus number of times should be in bracket, right? Modulo the length is dot length. Length should be what? Should be done this. And then I will just return new array. Control C, Control V. And here what you can do is you can just print for, or let me print here itself. We will do for everything. For int I in the array sysout I. Perfect. And same thing you can do with all this if you just want to Control C, Control V. Instead of A, we will just do B, and here we will do C. So this data we will do one by one. Let me comment for now. Okay. We'll I'll uncomment in a moment. So all I'm doing is I have created this is the data, and I'm just printing whatever has been written from this method. If I just make it bigger. And in this method, all I'm doing is I have created a new array, and in that new array, as I talked about, the if I have to shift 2 times, so number of times is 2. Okay. So say first index, if I have to move 2 times, so first index is 0. So 0 will go to the 2 times. 0 plus 2 gives you 2. Modulo is the length. So if it is 5, 2 modulo 5 is nothing but 2. 4 modulo 5 is nothing but 4. 5 modulo 5 is 0. So say in the first output input where we have 5 and modulo is 5. So 0 plus 5 gives you 5. Length gives you 5, becomes 0 and is 0. So it won't do anything. Right? And let's run this program. Let's see what happens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how it has been printed. And if you want to have everything in the same line, just do this and run this again. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? If I do the second and third together, and from everywhere, let me remove ln. Now let's run this. And here, let's put sys system.println. This new line I'm putting so that you, for every output, you will have a new line. Now, if we run this, So you can see when I move 5 times, I have the 1 2 3 4 5. Even when I move 10 times, I have same 1 2 3 4 5. And when I move 5 times, I have 3 4 5 6 7 1 2. Is that clear, guys? Does it look okay?
Yes.
Right. This is to it was Suraj, right? Or Surjit?
Suraj.
Okay. And
Yes,
this
sir.
makes sense. This makes sense to you also, Surjit, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. So see, that is how we do this program. Uh, as I said, instead of looking this into as a program first, I try to look this as a my maths problem first and see how I can solve it. And the moment I realize, oh, modulo, just to tell you, modulo is a very important concept, and you will find multiple questions in programs in many companies, uh, which is which can be solved based on the modulo operator. If you do so, you have cleared your question at least 60% times. Okay, so I believe this is all good. Then let's take uh, I mean, we'll talk about more about it. Not sure class. Say, let me take this. Okay. So the way you saw that problem, I'm going to ask you one more problem. Say if I ask you this, SYSO. This, 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 this. Okay. Is is this bracket balanced or they are not balanced? Who will answer me?
Balanced.
And how about the this one, second one?
Not balanced.
Not balanced, yes.
Okay. Now, if I ask you to write a program which will take such string, the way I am passing you, and tell me whether it is balanced or not, what do you think? How should you do it? Will you able to do it? I mean,
Yes.
not. I am not asking you to write the program. Just think about if someone gives you such program, and there are at least 20 examples. I will talk about if you know the approach, how you can solve different problems with the same concept. But before that, just want to understand if any one of you understand how you can crack this program.
Yeah, we can keep a counter object for each parenthesis.
Okay. So
No, Suraj, what I will do is that we can use stack and then push all the elements into it and then pop only if it's the ending bracket is matching.
wonderful, Suraj. Very good. So everything which is uh, opening, you push it, and the moment you get the close bracket, you just pop from the stack and see if they matches. Right? That's what you said.
Right.
Correct. And if you don't get the close open, then it's not balanced. And if you get it, then it's balanced. Uh, so there are few tricks in it, uh, because whenever you do with the stack, you should be. That's what I have seen people doing, uh, going wrong most of the times. For example, not checking if the stack is empty or not. So if you don't check whether the stack is empty or not, and you say stack.pop, right? In your program, say for an example, uh, this is for more for Suraj. Suraj, say for an example, I have given you input like this. Okay, so the first one itself starts with the closing. Okay, and since you have written the code that the moment you find anything with the closing, you will pop the stack and see whether you have a opening or not. But since this is the first element, you haven't pushed anything in the stack. The moment you will say stack.pop, it will throw you null pointer exception. So since anyone wants me to write this program, or you know how to do that?
Sir, can you please explain actually stack concept?
Acha, okay, sure, I will.
Yes, sir. Right.
So what is a stack? A stack is nothing but an array. Okay. But what it does is uh, when you push something, okay, it
Mhm.
always goes on top. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, when you insert something into the array, okay, it will be always at the first index.
Okay.
And whenever you take out something, in this case, it called as pop, it
Mhm.
will come out from the first index itself. Okay. So there
Okay.
are one is stack, and another concept is called as queue. I mean, in subsequent session, we can also take this data structure, how it works. But uh, in stack, what happens is whatever has come last, that will go first.
Okay.
Okay, because as I said, when whatever you push, it will always go at the top index.
Okay.
Top means say the first index itself.
Last in, first out.
Yes. So one is last in, first out, and the other one is last in, last out.
Okay.
So queue is same as any queue you see in anywhere, in mall, in theater, anywhere. So it's
Yes.
like
Yes.
the person who is standing at the first, he will go and do the things first,
Okay.
right? And but
Yes.
the stack, it is ulta. Someone who is in the last, he will get an opportunity to do the thing first. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So that is the stack. And as I said few minutes back, 30-40 minutes back, these are the only two data structure you should concentrate to crack programming interviews at least in 70-80 percent of the time in any of the company. One
Okay.
is stack and another one is array. Read more. I mean, even I can share you at least 20-30 programs based on each concepts. Uh, but look more programs around array or around stack, uh, and how do you solve it? I mean, and as I showed you earlier, and that was my main agenda, to show you in Google that not all the program which you see available over the net are the best way written. There are programs which are not the one which we did just now, right? The shifting thing. So likewise, so but if you more concentrate on stack and array, you will find more things. Okay, so that is one. Yes. Uh, uh, Programming, you see in a moment. First you see in a real world how you will solve it. Okay, suppose I mean the problem is called as leader program. Okay, leader. You have to find out that in an given array, do you have any leader? And what is the definition of a leader? A leader is someone whose occurrences are more than 50% in an array. Okay, let's take this example. Say I asked you to conduct a vote in a place. Okay, and there are people 100 people, and 100 people have voted 100 people. Anyone can vote anyone. Okay, or let's take, I mean, let's make it simple and then we will see in a complex way. Say there are 100 people who have voted to 3 people. So now you have got a a chit where someone's name is written, and that name can be out of only those 3 names, A, B, and C, and 100 people have given their votes. So now you have 100 chits. Okay, if I ask you that, can you find out anyone who has got more than 50% vote, or any name who has appeared more than 50% times in a chit, how will you do it?
I mean, if there are 100 people and they are giving their vote, and there is other system which is recording their vote, uh, is it? I mean, the votes are recorded in sorted order or not?
No, no, all I'm saying is you have got the 100 chits. I have given you 100 chits where one of the 3 names are written. Okay, so that's what I said, sorted. I mean, you don't look at this as a a programmatic issue. Any problem, any program in this world given to you, you should never look first. Your thing should be, how will I solve it in a real world? With a pen and paper, how will I solve it? So my question is, all of you, is this: you are conducting a vote, and there are 3 people who are participating. 100 people have voted them. It can be 100, it can be 1,000, it can be 1 million. Just for the simplicity, I have said 100. Okay, so when you will answer, I will definitely extend my input as well. So for this example, so end of the day, you have got 100 chits, and I am asking you, announce the winner's name only if someone has got more than 50% vote. What is the quickest way you can answer me? Suraj, do you want to give a try?
No. uh, as soon as someone votes in that, I mean, for some person, I mean, we can keep the count against that person.
Okay, so that way the problem is, first of all, you have to count everyone. So say A, B, C are 3 people participating. So the count of A is 20, the count of B is 30, and the count of C is 100. So you have counted all 100, and then you will check if there is someone who has got more than 50.
I mean, in this case, so we can, I mean, we know the number of voters, so that, I mean, so we can only count the 2 peoples, and remaining will be like subtraction from 100.
Doesn't matter. But when you are counting, it is always good that count everyone. Otherwise, you have to put another check in your mind in a real world. If the name is C, I will not count. If the name is C is not, I will not count. Instead of that, why don't you count C also when you are counting A and B? Did you get me? If you
Yes,
can,
yes.
if you can reduce significant people, say A, B, C, may you can reduce A and B both. Then it makes sense that ignore one type of result. But if you have only, I mean, if you are going to discard only one type of result, so it will take more time to always think, "Arey, this is C, I should not count. This is C, I should not count." Okay. Any other
Yes.
approach? This is good. This is how anyone will do, right? If I ask you, "Ki who has got," it is this is the way only anyone can do. My question is to this entire forum: do you think there can be any other way? Whether it is good or bad, leave it. You just try to think in all direction and tell me if there is any other way to give me the answer. So time you think, I'll just prepare my next question.
Can we go for binary tree method, sir?
You are not coming out from the programming world. For now, I am saying is you forget any programming. You
Okay.
are in a real world, sitting in a big room where people have voted, and I am asking you, can you give me any the one who has got more than 50%? Only then you give me the name. Otherwise, don't give me the name.
Okay.
So in a real world, if you are doing, so one way is you will open a chit, read the name and write somewhere. A got 1, then you will read, increase the count 2, increase the count 3, 4. Same way for everyone you will do. You will count all 100 votes and then see who has got more than 50, and then you will answer. That is one way of doing it. Is there any other way you can count?
Is it like something like total number of voters? We need to calculate the percentage, and if a particular candidate is percentage is going beyond the 51 percentage, then he'll be declared as a winner. Because remaining percentage also, if you count, then he has already crossed it. So that kind of.
Right. So how will you do that? So you will count everyone, right? That's what my question is. I mean, in a real world, how will you do it? As I'm keep repeating myself, you forget programming.
Yeah, real world you have to count everything. Otherwise, you cannot declare him as a winner.
Okay. Hmm. Right. Okay. I
One
will.
thing could be that just ask people to regroup themselves based on their affinities, like who's voting for whom kind of thing or something. And
I mean, you cannot do that. Na? It's a voting. Nobody will tell you na, ki whom they have voted.
okay, fine.
Agree, right? Okay. Let's park that program for a moment. I'll come back to that program. Okay. Let's take this program, which I have drawn here. So what the program is says is, say you have a river, okay, and it is flowing from somewhere from east to west, for an example, and you have fishes of different sizes. No fish is of the same size. Okay, that is the assumption that no fish in my picture is of same size. They all are of different size. So either they are floating from left to right or right to left. Okay. So what will happen is, and even this fish is traveling right. So definitely they will meet because they are traveling opposite direction. So the one who is bigger, in this case this is bigger, it will eat this small fish. Okay, and then it will go away, because since it is going here and these fishes are going here, they will never meet up, matter close. Now this fish will come. Since it is bigger, it will eat it. It will eat this. It will eat this. So it will eat all this. So all are gone. End of the day, you have left with 2 fishes. Okay. Is my problem statement clear?
Yes.
Okay. So if I ask you that, can you write me a program for such scenarios and tell me which fish or how many fishes will survive? Will you able to think about? Again, program wise, think afterwards. In a real world, how will you think if you have got this? If fish looks difficult, say I have given you different types of objects. Either they are going from left to right, or they are going right to left. And I'm saying the one which is bigger, whenever 2 objects meet, the one which is bigger will remain, the other one will be discarded. So end of this entire game, how many will survive?
All the fishes which are traveling the same direction will survive.
Right, but it is also possible, right, that this fish is bigger, then this will eat this up. So then only 2 fish will survive. One is this, which is going there, and one is this, which is going here. Correct now? Did I make sense? So only with the direction you will not able to tell me. You have to see the size with the direction. Then only you can tell me. But how will you do that in a real world? And then how will you do that in a programmatic world? Can we write the program to solve this?
Yes, it is possible to write program, but I don't know how to explain it in real world.
Acha, okay, if you think that you can do it, program, you explain me program. How will you do that?
I will associate it the big fish with some number, and then in the doubly linked list,
Before you go, I'm so sorry. Before you go there, how will you first of all find out which is the biggest fish? Because you have a set of fishes, 20, 30, 40.
We will associate number with that fish.
So first you will go through all the fishes and find out who is biggest. Is that you are saying?
Yes.
So you have lost at least one effort to just finding out who is the biggest ship. So one iteration is gone, right? If there are 200,000 fishes, so 200 to 2,000 times you have iterated in your array or list or whatever you had, and you just found out who is biggest. Okay, I take it. Then
so what should I explain next?
You got the biggest fish. Then what happens? Then what will you do?
Then I will populate the doubly linked list, and then in that, by using previous and next pointer, I can get to know that whether it is traveling in the same direction or not, and then traverse it. And while traversing, I can write some simple logic, like if it is less than and traveling in the same direction, then it is going to survive, and then add it to the different list or some hash table, like that.
So you understand the problem in your program, right? First time you iterate 2,000 times to find out which is the biggest fish, and then again you iterated 2,000 times to see which will survive, which will not. Understood?
Yes, I can make it simple. Like, instead of no, I think I cannot, because I was thinking about the hash table solution, so that I don't have to iterate for accessing that much time. But I'm not able to think about it.
but but very very good. I mean, at least you and got the approach. I mean, that is how you should do, right? Which is very good.
Yes, yes. I mean, another approach can be like I mean, I will define another class like class fish weight, fish direction, and then I will create object of that class and then put that object into the hash table.
How
So
does
that
it? No, no, that doesn't matter. I mean, you put the object, or because even in hash table, you first of all you have to iterate everywhere, right? Whatever you say, all these fishes you have in a list. Okay,
yes.
so first you will iterate everyone, right? Then create an object. So if they are today 2000, tomorrow they will become 2 million. To 2 million objects, first of all you will create.
Yes, that is the
है ना?
problem.
So right, so anytime it will go out of memory because your heap, whatever heap you have allocated it, 2 GB or 1 GB or whatever, definitely it will go for a toss. Those many objects are in a RAM.
Yes, right.
Hmm. But that's okay. I mean, thought process is good. All you have to do is and this is what one thing I wanted to all tell you. If in an interview someone asks you to write a program, okay, or even this should be your practice even in a real world also when you do some work. If I ask you to do something, okay, the first thing you should do is you should complete that task, and after completing the task, then you should think, can I make it better? Trust me, in this world there is nothing called as a better solution. There is no better solution. People only make solution better, but you cannot have a better solution. I'm sure you understand the difference between that. A better solution and solution when you make it better, because better solution can further be made as better, right? So first you should have something which is working, and then you make it better and better and better and better. But if you think at the first go itself that I will make something better, that will never happen, because whatever you do, it can definitely be improvised, it can be made better. And on a lighter note, there is a proverb that too much of analysis leads you to paralysis. So that is why you should do things and then think about, okay, this can be done, that cannot be done, that way. Okay, so uh, right, let's take this now. Before I you want me to answer this question first or my leader question first?
This question.
Right. So the answer of this or my the other question, or likewise there are many. Same way there is a question like a signal. If you start from your home, you find a signal. How many signals you have crossed, and likewise. Okay. There are m- millions of program. Uh, when you will hear them out, they will sound so complicated. But when you have this concept clear, which I'm going to talk about, is whenever you have to find out the survivor, okay, you should always start thinking from the stack point of view. Can I solve this through stack? Okay. What do I mean by survivor? I'll just talk about. I mean, survivor is not only in this case that one fish will eat second fish. Even my the last question where I talked about the leader. So who is the leader? I said the one who has got more than 50%. So again, even he is the survivor, right? Out of so many inputs, you have to find out who is the survivor. And why he is survivor? Because he has got more than 50%. So he has got the weightage. He has more weight. Same way, even in this case, your fish has more weight. That is why it survived. Even same thing, even in the signal program. I mean, there are many. There are many. I mean, I can uh, at least 1 year I can keep talking only about such programs and what should be your thought process and how do you solve it. So let's take example one by one and then see. So who was answering me? What is the name? Sorry, I did not get it. This fish wala problem. Who was answering me?
Suraj.
Acha, Suraj only. Right. So Suraj, how about you think about from the stack point of view, which is, uh, I mean, even the bracket wala problem, you only give me the answer, right, Suraj?
Right.
So why do you think that bracket wala problem is different than this problem? To me, both the problems are same, which is whenever I get left hand side से fish, I will keep pushing into the stack, and whenever I get a fish from the closing, I mean same way as a bracket. Whenever you get a opening bracket, you push, right? And whenever you get a closing bracket, you pop from the stack and see if you have a matching bracket. Instead of there finding out the matching bracket, here you will find out which one is bigger. And in a single iteration, you have done your job. Did I make sense?
Yes, I mean it was simple, but I don't know. This solution doesn't come to my mind.
No worries. This all comes with practice. But there is a little problem in this program. I will talk in a moment. I don't want to tell you now because otherwise you will get confused. So everyone who are listening to me, uh, did you understand what I said? This program is exactly same as the bracket wala program, and they all can be solved with the stack, because all we are doing is from one side of fish, say for an example fishes who are traveling from left to right, we will keep pushing them in the pop in the stack without thinking anything. And when we find a fish which is traveling to the right, correct, we will do pop from the stack and see whatever we have popped has a bigger size or the one I have is a bigger size. If I have a bigger size, I will remove it, push it back, and the same way. Okay. Uh, and so here the only change, I mean not change, the only trick you have follow. If people are wondering how will I do it with the fish and all, so when you are writing the program, how will you do? You will take two-dimension array, or you will take two arrays. In one array, you will have different sizes in numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in another array, you will have a direction. So direction can be only two numbers, either 0 or 1, or -1 or 0, or -1 or 1, whatever number you want to give. But if you know what I mean, that when I talk about direction, it will be either from left to right or right to left. It cannot be anything else, right? So for all the direction, you should do in this way, that you assign them with the number, with any number, say 0, and the opposite direction you should assign with the number called as 1, and then do it. Anyone has any question before I go to the next?
I have one question, Suraj.
Yes, Suraj.
While answering this type of question, I mean, do I have to ask interviewer that I can use built-in stack, or I have to implement my own stack? And also, do I have to ask him that I have to implement stack using array or linked list, or what kind of thing? And even if he says that I have to use built-in stack, then I don't know what is the time complexity of that built-in stack. So how to answer that?
Okay. So you asked too many questions. Let's take one by one and answer. First is, can I ask my interviewer, should I do this or that? Okay. So it is always the best practice to ask as many questions as possible to your interviewer. Okay. Uh, anywhere you have even a simple observation, you please make it. You just let him know. Should I write from left to right or right to left? Even in that, you should not assume anything in the interview or anywhere. I mean, even in this real world, even when you are in a company, in an organization and doing some work, you should never assume anything that this will happen. No, you ask. And if it is not, then ask someone to give you in written. It should be in over the email or in a document or somewhere. But never ever assume anything before writing a program or doing anything. If you are not clear what should you do, you should always ask. Did I answer your question, first question, Suraj?
Yes.
Okay. Now coming back to the should I use stack? Uh, as I said, stack is an array. I mean, the implementation of stack is using an array. Okay. So there there should not be a question around should I use stack which is using linked list or hash map or hash table or tree. No, that should question never come up, because as I said, stack is nothing but an array, but it has some its property. If you don't use built, I mean, why you will not use built-in stack? I mean, first of all, either I mean, the interviewer doesn't want, he wants to see if you know how a stack is being implemented. Then it's a different question. He will definitely tell you. Otherwise, you should always use the built-in stack. It is built-in. That means it is done brilliantly. That is why it is provided in the package, right? And people are using it. So don't restrict yourself not to using it and I mean, it is nothing but a reinventing the wheel. When something is already present, why will I do it again? If a stack is working very fine, why should I write my own stack implementation? So you have to write the implementation of stack only when the interviewer wants you to write, because he wants to check if you understand the implementation of stack. And that reminds me another question. This is for you, Suraj, and for everyone. But since Suraj is asking, I'll just. So if you remember, in the start of this, I asked you that you should always know the format of an interview. And if the format of the interview is going to be that you will be asked to write programs only, then if you remember, I said in that case, your interviewer is going to give you one or two big programs. He is not going to give you small programs. Big programs he will give you. And one example I said is giving you a number and you have to convert that number into words. You remember, I give you 999 and you have to write a program to convert 999 into 999. Yes, that is one program. And your second program is this, that people can your interviewer can say that I give you 2 stacks. You implement 2 stacks, but they should use same array. Your array will be 1, but your stack should be 2. So these both the stacks should be using the same array. And 2 stacks is very simple. It can go to 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 10 stacks, and a single array. You will find such programs in Google. So read even that program as well and try to solve if you can. But it is also a very good program, and I have seen people asking this program whenever there is a uh, uh, I mean, when they ask you only couple of programs or one program in entire interview session. Right. So now, did I answer all your questions, Suraj?
Yes, you answered. But I have only one small question, and that is, I mean, in Java there is some methods like collection.sort and arrays.sort, and that sort I mean, I don't know how it is implemented. I mean, I can Google it, but if an interview asked me to, I mean, interview allowed me to use that inbuilt method, then how to know its time complexity? Because I don't know which kind of, I mean, algorithm they are using.
Correct. So this is called as leap of faith. You understand that since entire world is no, not entire world. Well, there was time when entire world was using it, uh, but after now Python has taken the first place and Java has gone to the second place. Uh, but since 1992, 28 years, people are using it. So whatever implementation it has would be the best implementation. Agree? That if everyone is using it, then that means it's the best implementation. And what is the best implementation? Best implementation is always that the time complexity and the space complexity would be either one, or I mean it will take only one iteration to do that, or it will take only the n iteration to do that. If you cannot write a program which has a complexity of O1 or ON, then your program is not good. Trust me, someone has must have written up your same program of that same complexity, which is either O1 or ON. So even in Java, whatever they are using, complexity, I mean, not 100%, but even 99%, the complexity is the best, which is either O1 or ON. Okay. So if you cannot go and read all the implementation, then as I said, you should have a leap of faith, which is yes, if they have given it, it is the best complexity, and best complexity is always O1, and after that ON.
Okay, it answered my question.
But just for an example, I mean, and you should apply your common sense as well. Just for an example, sort. Okay, you sort something. Obviously, sorting cannot be happen in O1. No one in this world can solve. I mean, even if you have a magical stick, I mean, with the magical stick, I don't know. But other than magical stick, you can never sort n items in a single go. Correct? You
Yes,
will
correct.
sort something. You will sort. So, but what best you can sort? You can best sort it. As many things I have, those many iteration I will take and sort it. But if I say, how about get method in hash map? What should be the complexity of get? If it is not one, then your implementation is poor implementation. Agree? Because
Yes.
for get it should be always one. For insert it should be one. For update it should be one. But for sorting, obviously it cannot be one. So the next better complexity after after one, what is the best? ON. So complexity
Yes.
must be ON. So just apply this thought process, common sense. You will have your answer. Okay, right. Now let's go back to the leader wala problem. Okay. So I asked you in a real world, can you solve that problem without counting everyone? And nobody answered me. I just tell you my approach. You tell me whether it can solve the problem or not. So what I will do is, for a simplicity, as I said, I mean we will take it to the more than three also, even 3,000, 3 million, whatever. But for a simplicity, let's take this example that I have only three names in the chat. Okay, A, B, and C. So how about I will pick the first chit out of 100. I will pick the first chit, and the name is A. Just an example. I will keep it on the table. Okay. I will pick the second chit. If the name is A, I will again put in the table. If the name is anything other than A, it is B or C, I will throw A and B both in the dustbin. Okay, that means I don't have any chit. Then I will pick the number 3 chit again. Whatever name it is, B or C, I will put it to the table. and I will again pick the chit number 4. If the name is same, then only I will keep it on the table. If names are not same, I will throw it. Okay. So say and 10 times I did it, and I did not find anything common in the first name and second name are not common at all. I have done 10 times. So now I haven't counted anything. I have only picked 10 chits, and I have thrown all the 10 chits in the ground. I picked the 11th chit. The name is say A. I will keep it on the table. The 12th chit I picked up. The name is also A. I will again keep it into the table. 13 I will pick. Again I get A. I will keep it to the table. Right? And fourth say I got now B. So how much how many chit I should throw? Suraj? So I'll repeat my question. Up till my 10 picking chits, all the names were different. So I have thrown everything in the ground. In the on my table, I have no chit at all. Now I picked the 11th chit. I got A. I kept it into the table. I picked 12th chit. Again name A. I put it into the table. Pick the 13. Again name is A. I picked it into the table. When I picked 14, now name is B or C. What should I do now? Hello, Suraj.
I think it's throwing in the dustbin.
Which one? All 11, 12, 13, all or only 13?
Only which are other than the put we already put on the table.
Right. So I will throw 13 chit also, 13th chit also, because only one and one chit are matching, right? 11th was A, 12th was A, 13th was A, 14th was B. So I will throw 13th and 14th. So on my table, I still have 11th and 12th, which are named A, and I'll go on. So if you know what I'm doing, if I'll just reiterate, all I'm doing is, if I pick one chit, if my the second chit is the same, I am putting them together. If they are not same, I am throwing them away. Okay. So now what will happen? Probably by the 51 iteration, I got all A's. So I don't need to count at all. I know, yes, 51 hai, 51 is more than 100%. So he is the leader. Or by the end of the 100, if it is 51, then that means how many I will left with? I will left with one chit. So I know that he is the leader. But after 100 iteration, if I am not left with any chit, I know there is no leader. I don't need to count anything else. Did I make sense?
See, you are assuming A will be the winner. So if suppose B is the winner.
So B, I mean, this is for everyone, right? Okay. Let me explain this. Or let me. Okay, let's take this example. Okay, I said, let's take uh, 4, 4, 8, 11, C also. Okay, let's put Control X here, and let's put 1B here, Okay. Say I mean, just for the simplicity, let's take this example. I have these many people. How many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. 13 is not, or 12. Let's do 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. I have 12 votes. I have to find out who is the leader. So who will be the leader? The one who has got more than 6. Correct? If no one has got more than 6, then no one is leader. Let's take this example. So what I am saying is, first I picked a list. I got A. Okay. I keep it on the table. I picked the second list. I got B. So I threw them away. Now I don't have either A or B. Forget about it. Again, I picked B. I got B. Okay, I have a B. Again, I picked another chit. I got B again. I put it into the table. Then I got A, the third chit. What I will do, A and B I will throw. So these two I have thrown. Pick got A again. So here is A, and on the table I have got B. I will delete that also. Delete it. Then I picked B, put it into the table. Got second one as a C. They are not same. I will delete them. Okay. Then I got C, put it into the table. Got C again, put it into the table. Got B. It is not present. Delete it. Got two C's. They are not leaders. Did I make sense now? The one who asked me the question. Did I?
Not sure, Vivek, if the person is still on the call.
Okay. Okay.
It was Suraj, right? Or who has asked the question?
No, it was not me. The other person. I don't know his name.
Yeah, Raja here. I asked, but in between my network issue,
Oh, no problem.
unfortunately got disconnected. Rejoined now back.
Okay. So all I'm saying is, you picked first chit, okay, and if it is matching with the and then you pick the second chit, okay. First and second is just a number. It can be you pick the 97th chit and you pick the 98th chit. Okay, it can be anything. If they both are meeting up, if the names are matching in both the chits, you will keep both of them on the table. Okay, and if they are not matching, you will throw them away. Okay, so that is how, even one of the way you can count, if you have to know if someone has got more than 50%. Okay, so if you see, even this problem is nothing but survivor. Who is the survivor? Who has got 50%. So what should I use? Again, I should use stack. So likewise, as I explained, there are many things which can be solved by using stack, and there are many things which can be fixed uh, using array. And I would recommend to all of you to learn more programs on array and or on stack. Okay, that will, and after that, once you are done with all this, then only you go for linked list, a tree, whatever you think of. But unless you don't see yourself master on these two concepts, don't pick up any other data structure. Whatever data structure is available in Java, it is more than sufficient for you to solve any given problem in a real world. Trust me, you will never have to write your own data structure. Java has given you enough data structures and they work for you very well. So you don't need to concentrate on more data structures. Just you see stack and array and try to solve as many programs around these two data structures as possible. Right. So time is ticking. It will be 12 o'clock is the hard stop for me. There were many programs like that I wanted to talk about, but I believe you have got the gist. You have understood what I wanted to explain, that how you should think about, can this program can be solved using array, or can this be solved using stack? And you will find most of the time answer is yes, and it will be easier for you to do it. Uh, so programming is not only everything. Things become so when you write, you deploy your code. I'm not sure who can answer me what is the difference between web server and application server. Have you guys ever heard about web server or application server?
Yes.
Okay, and what is it?
Web server will contain only kind of container, which is minimal things. Application server will have many more. Like if you see JBoss, JBoss have can give logging feature, and we have a kind of security feature, and we can configure you know queues, minimum queues, all those things, security, all those things.
Very good.
But if you take a simple thing, Jetty, all those things, it will give the things only which is need for your runtime, your program runtime.
Very good, very good. So I'll just give you the right words. So a web server contains only servlet container, okay, and an application server contains servlet container plus EJB container plus message brokers like JMS. Different implementations have different things. JBoss has its own. Tomcat has its own. WebLogic has its own. But when you only have an servlet container, you are using web server. When you have uh, more than servlet container, you have EJB container and all, you are using application server. So my question was, have you ever deployed your code in more than one server? Any one of us in this call?
Yes, one server means it's a kind of replica you are saying, or yes, we had
I
this.
mean, you can call it as a replica. I will. I mean, uh, so instead of only deploying in one server, I am deploying my code into two servers.
2 nodes, yes.
2 nodes, very good. And it can be even 4 nodes.
Yeah.
Very good. So, and the concept here is called as high availability. Why you will do that? Why you will deploy your same code into more than one server? So that you will get high availability. What do you mean by high availability?
I mean, if one server goes down, then the other can process the request.
Exactly. So that is why high availability. Availability, chances of this being available is high. Very good. Okay, so now you tell me one thing. The one who has answered me, say my code is deployed in two nodes. Okay, and it's a one application. Say any application. Say Facebook. Okay, let's take this example of Facebook. So Facebook is deployed in 2 nodes. So when I hit the Facebook homepage, it has asked me for login, and I have logged in. Okay, so in the first node, I have logged in. It knows my username and password. It has created a session for me. Wonderful. And this node has gone down now. So my all the requests will go to the node 2, right? But I did not log into the node 2, right? My all the user credential is with the node 1 only. But I'm sure you have never seen Facebook asking you your username password again. So how does it work?
I think they are using microservice architecture, and they are using multiple nodes to keep logged in information for their specific user, and like API gateway and other things. But I'm not sure.
So the authentication and authorization mechanism is different. Instead of HTTP session based authentication, they're using OAuth2 kind of implementation.
Right, but even that doesn't matter. That is only about. Probably you did not get my question. So I am not asking about
Yeah,
how
I got it.
how do you implement the login implementation. No, That you can do a many ways. I mean, altogether, all you need is a JSession ID. You do it in a auth way, auth2, OATH auth2. You do it in a simple hard-coded username password. That is altogether a different matter. But all I'm saying is I have logged whatever paradigm or protocol I have used. With that, I have logged into one server, and that one server is down now. Or say, for an example, it is giving me forget login. Probably that is confusing you. Say in a Facebook, when you go in the home page, it gives you 30 news, right? So you see all the 30 feeds, whatever they call it. And then when you scroll down again, it fetches the data from the backend. So when you scroll down at that time, node 1 has gone down. So how will node 2 know that node 1 has given you 30 records, let's call it, and I should give him from 31 to 60 with the same to the same user? How do you handle that?
I don't know how this will happen, but there is a session replication in Wildfly. I know that one server. It's kind of when you have two kind of Wildfly servers, that's application servers. There is a session replication concept is there. So even if you one node is down, this session is already replicated in another machine. It will take from there. But it's not 100% real time, but it's mostly.
Okay, let me ask you. I mean, since you have used, so you are saying that once I am logged in, you will create my session. Say your application is deployed in 2 nodes. So once I log in, you will create my session in both the nodes. So then your application is very. I mean, performance cannot be a good performance because each node. I mean, every server comes with some RAM, some ROM. I mean, some VMs, some processor, right? If everywhere you will create the same object, everyone is consuming the memory. They will not able to serve more people. Did I make sense? Did you agree?
Yeah, but maybe I'm not sure. They will maybe some central repository. They will store this session information, kind of thing.
Yes, very good, very good, very good, very good. But it cannot be session replication. Agree?
Yeah. Maybe my word is the analogy I have used wrong.
Earlier, people used to use. I mean, it used to call as a sticky session, okay, or session replication. But it cannot be performant. So that is why people move to something called as REST. Okay, everything is. So when you make something, you make sure that your application or your module or whatever you're offering is stateless. That is a very great concept in the application world. It's not only with Java, it's everywhere. Something called as stateless. It should not be stateful. Okay. We have to close this. We will probably we will meet sometime again. We will more talk about it. How does happen? So instead of session replication, it is called as session management, where you have as you rightly said, someone I can put it into centralized repository. Cannot be centralized repository. Obviously, there are many tools for it. One is if you have heard about called as Redis, REDIS. If people are working in Oracle world, it is called as Coherence, and likewise there are many. So it does so instead of server having the information of my credential, central place has information. So if any node goes down, the second node will pick from. So everyone is picking from the central place. So it doesn't matter. And even the centralized repository which you talked about, Redis, it doesn't do anything other than storing the auth token. I mean your session information. So it is very light in weight and it can serve multiple people. But it is the job of the application to to make it as a stateless. Because if you make something as stateful, right, your everything is gone. Even if you apply in more than 2 nodes, it will not work if one node goes down, because it is stateful. It needs all the information of its state from the previous request. Okay. I have a hard stop, so I have to stop this. It was very nice talking to you, and it's good to see that people are participating. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any question, any thing you want to ask. You can either come with, I mean, you can shoot the question to Shavik. Shavik can let me know. Or from
Yeah,
LinkedIn, if
sure, Vivek.
you
Yeah,
have any question, you can.
yeah, we have
Yes.
already shared your LinkedIn profile on the meetup, so people can obviously connect with you.